and welcome to the Orc Rogues Review Show, where we bring to you everything nerdy, geeky, and just plain fun. My name's Derek.
And my name is Thomas.
And it is finally here, guys and gals, given that there's, all sorts of Star Wars fans. Star Wars The Last Jedi, finally in theaters. And today we're actually going to cover pretty much everything. So, fair warning, I know we have it posted everywhere, but fair warning, there is tons of spoilers in this review. If you really want to see a review and you haven't seen the show, check out our other review if you're not looking for spoilers, or if
words are hard, man.
Words are hard. I started so strong and then I just mucked it. No, but seriously, we do have a spoiler-free review where we just kind of give our thoughts on the movie. The links are below. Check those out. If you don't care about reviews, or if you've already seen the film, absolutely, this is where you need to be. Let's get going. What did you think about the film?
I had really mixed feelings, and apparently I'm not the only one. The internet as a whole is completely divided on this movie. Some people are saying that this is the best Star Wars movie, second only to Empire Strikes Back. Other people are saying the prequels put it to shame. Nobody seems to be able to come to a consensus on this movie. And I think it's a shame, but I think that I know the reasoning.
Yeah.
It was an incredibly complex story. There was a lot going on, and at times it was a very slow story, what with the ships moving at a crawl trying to stay out of firing range and all that. Yes, it was dynamic. Honestly, it was a dynamic flow of the story. And I think that made it something that, not to mention, you had characters just throwing their preconceptions of what they believe out the window. And you had to come to terms with that as the viewer. You have to understand the fact that Luke has been through a lot.
Yes.
And he's about given up. He has felt the pull of the dark side and almost given into it. There is a reason that he is the way he is in this movie. And because we're getting all of this information, we're not able to process it correctly. So I was sitting in the movie theater.
It's a long film, too.
It really is.
And for the amount of information, it's almost not long enough. Mind you, it's plenty long.
Some scenes are too long.
But yes.
And that's some of my issue.
But to fit in like everything they fit in, it's a lot, and it's so much in a movie. Like I could almost see it in a book. Matter of fact, the format was almost very bookish, right?
It really was.
Because they covered like this thing going on, they covered this thing going on, and in a book you can do that really well. Mm-hmm. In a movie, it's hard. It's really difficult to do it. And I think they did it about as well as they could.
Yeah, it really is difficult to do that. And I was sitting in the movie theater when the movie ended, watching the credits roll, and I literally just blurred out, "What?" Because I hadn't had time to process it yet. So much happened in that 2.5 hours that I didn't know what to think. I thought about it all night that night. I slept on it. I thought about it all day the next day. And I finally came to a point where, after thinking back over all of the things that I just saw in that movie, I was like, actually, that was pretty dang good.
Yep, and that's kind of what happened to me as well. When we talked, just before you went in to see it, it was, an hour or two, I guess. I had already watched the movie, and I didn't know what to say. Like, I had no idea. He asked, was it good? That's all I want to know, was it good? And I think I said it was.
You did,
but I didn't know. Like, I was really unsure at that point. I knew I had a good time. I'll say that. I knew I had a good time in the theater. Mm-hmm. Like, it was engaging and fun, but I didn't know if the movie itself was good. And it took me until later the next day, really. I was kind of better in the morning. Mm-hmm. And now, it's been a couple days, I guess, or a little over a day. And now I like it much more now than when the movie ended.
Yes, and I have to agree. In fact, I'm really excited to see it for a second time. I think you almost have to with this movie. You have to see it a second time to fully appreciate everything that's going on. But let's get into some specifics that I personally want to talk about. First up, the biggest cameo in this movie that we were not, well, if you paid a lot of attention to the news that was coming out about the movie, you might have suspected it, but it did kind of come out of nowhere. Yoda. Yoda was in this movie.
Yep.
Frank Oz returned, and it was puppet Yoda, not CGI Yoda.
It was, which I thought was brilliant, actually.
Which, and to be fair, it was about the only practical effect they used where they could have used CGI. This movie was much more heavy on the CGI than I personally wanted.
That is true.
Yoda.
Yeah, speaking of CGI, just real quickly, I'm going to go back to Yoda, but I could really have done without the CGI Snoke.
We'll get back to
that.
Snoke.
Just bugged me. But anyway,
I want to say some things about Snoke.
On to Yoda. I loved that he was in it.
I hated that he was in it for as long as he was.
Yes. Yeah, I will agree with that.
It went from feeling like a cameo where Luke's old master had great words of wisdom for him to feeling like a, hey, look, guys, it's a cameo. It's Yoda. Check it out. He's still here.
Yep.
Yoda. And yeah, no, it got old. It got really old.
It just kind of kept going, you know?
Mm-hmm. And it lost its effect.
Yeah, I would have been actually okay with it if they'd busted out into the Seagull song from bad lip reading. That would have made my day.
Yeah.
Other than, like, if it had been that long and that had been in it, I would have been okay with the length. But as it was, yeah, you're right. It was too long. It felt kind of, I'm not going to say unnecessary, because, I mean, some of the points that were made were necessary, but they could have been made, like, you know, in the span of maybe a minute, maybe two. I don't know.
I also would have been fine if it had been stretched out to include Ewan McGregor as Obi-Wan, or
I would have liked to see that.
Even, and I'm really iffy on saying this, even if Hayden Christensen had taken some acting classes, and I would have liked to have seen Anakin come back.
That's fair.
Not Hayden Christensen. To communicate to Luke, yo, I was in a bad place too, remember?
Yeah. No, actually,
that it would have been a good message to have. Of course, Disney's not going to touch Hayden Christensen. Nope. Not after the prequels. No. Yeah, that's not happening. So, you mentioned Snoke earlier.
Yep.
What?
Yep, I did. Oh, Snoke.
Okay, so if you've seen the movie, you already know this, but Snoke meets his demise with very little struggle.
Yeah, Snoke was fairly unimpressive.
Really he was supposed to be like a big, dark power in the galaxy. Yeah. And Kylo Ren just sort of goes, kill it. Dead.
Yeah, pretty much exactly that, actually. Yeah. I mean, it was kind of clever, I suppose, you know, the way they did it. And they did hint, I guess, and show a little bit of the power he had. You know, I mean, for one, bridging the minds of Rey and Ben.
He did some impressive stuff.
I mean, he did do some impressive things. I mean, he clearly was pretty powerful, but I mean, his end was just so anticlimactic. It just wasn't even funny.
Though the fight following
Snoke's death was nice. Yeah, that was good.
Oh, it was incredible.
Yeah,
I love that they did the saber through the face thing.
That was beautiful. Probably my favorite scene or favorite part of that fight. But
that was great.
But the sequence had a lot of good moments. But yeah, Snoke. It also leaves. I mean, one, I don't like the way they did Snoke. I really don't. I would have rather seen like prosthetic work. I think on somebody. I didn't like it. I don't like CGI done in that type of way. It's just too obvious. You know, it's just too much there. The other thing is that, I mean, Snoke's the big bad, right? You know, I mean, he's supposedly
that's what we were thinking during Force Awakens,
and now he's not. So what do they do? You know, we talked about it earlier. I don't really feel that Kylo can be the big bad. He just doesn't have it. You know, I mean, it's not. If they put him as the big bad, that really bugs me. I like it. No, I just don't think so. You know,
And,
he
you
can't
know,
be, right?
The worst thing about Snoke is that, personally, I never had time to be afraid of him.
No.
So he was never a threat. Seeing him killed wasn't a massive relief. In fact, even when General Hux came into the room, he was like, "Why'd you kill him? Why is he dead?"
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't a, "Oh no,
Yeah, no relief.
this is
no,
horrible."
Yeah,
No, it was like, "Why'd you kill my dog?"
Yeah,
That's what it felt like.
that's true.
And it was just, it had no substance to it. But these little guys were awesome.
They really were. I think one of the problems, and I don't know. I mean, maybe Snoke isn't that bad. I don't. It could be a comparison thing, you know, right?
It could be.
You know, I mean, because the natural comparison to make with Snoke is the Emperor,
Naturally.
who was terrifying. You know, I mean, the voice was. I didn't even think the voice for Snoke was that bad. You know, I mean, but the voice for the Emperor was just terrifying. The look was terrifying, and Snoke looked kind of cartoonish, so not so much. You know, and the actions of the Emperor were terrifying. He was scary, man. You know, especially as a kid. You know, I mean, I saw it when I was little, so yeah, this was a scary individual. Darth Vader was a scary individual. You know, I mean,
Darth Vader was a lot scarier than Kylo Ren.
Yeah. Oh, by far. I think that's one of the things. There's no like scary evil in these movies. Not really. Like Snoke had the potential to be, and then they just dropped it, right?
And there is the theory that Snoke is still going to be scary because some people are saying maybe he's not dead. Which, granted, if you've seen it, he's pretty clearly dead unless it was some sort of weird force trick. But
it doesn't sound like a force trick.
No.
You know,
No.
I mean, do we know the race? Does anyone know the race of him?
No one knows anything about Snoke, and apparently never will.
I was going to say, conceive maybe his race is okay with being cut in two. You know, I mean,
maybe they just regrow.
I don't know, but yeah.
I mean, goodness sake, the guy's
maybe
been through
two
enough
Snokes
trauma
later,
anyways.
You know,
True.
Yeah.
But yeah, with all the scarring and mangulation,
that is
he's
true.
been through enough. He might be fine.
I just don't know. I think if they did indeed get rid of him, I think that's a mistake. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. The only places I can see them going right now is, again, Ben Kenobi is the big bad, and that's just an error. You know, unless
Ben Kenobi.
Ben Solo. Did I say Ben Kenobi?
You did.
Ben Solo. They're both Bens. Entirely different, admittedly, but still. But yeah, if Ben is the big bad, I don't think he can pull that off unless he somehow just ends up working really hard at being terrifying and less whiny.
Yeah.
You know, then maybe.
Which, and granted, I did feel like his character developed a lot during this movie.
I would agree.
And some of the whininess went away. Not all of it. Not even most of it.
No, he still has
some of it.
Okay, with his whininess. The tantrums, man. Like,
there's only one this time.
Is there just one?
No, he does tell the entire fleet to shoot at Luke.
Yeah, there's a couple. And, man, he sounds like a child, you know, during that. You know, that's the thing. Yeah. Like, Vader had a tantrum or two. You know?
Yeah.
And I don't mean Anakin, you know, I mean Vader, you know.
Yeah.
You know, had a tantrum or two. But his tantrums were scary. You know, they were, like, it was intimidating, and it was, like, anger. It wasn't like someone, like, pitching a tantrum. Like, I could see Kylo Ren on the floor, hitting the floor and saying, it's not my, you know, I don't want it that way. I don't want it that way, you know.
Yeah, no, Vader was much more subtle and calm in his tantrums, which is partially what made him terrifying.
Sure.
If Vader threw a tantrum, the room stood in fear.
Yep.
If Kylo throws a tantrum, just back up, walk out, just don't pay any attention. We never saw anything. And Yeah, no. He's not threatening at all. Which, you're right. I don't know what the big bad's going to be in the last movie. I don't know in a lot of ways what they're going to do with the last movie. I do want to talk about one more little thing that has been bugging a lot of people online. I've seen many complaints about it. And
Porgs!
That is... Oh, we'll get to Porgs.
No, okay. No, go on.
Leia and her one scene where she uses the Force. And granted, I will say... as far as cinematography goes, it wasn't the best shot scene ever. But I do appreciate what happened in that scene. We did get to see that Leia is strong in the Force, and it makes sense that it manifests itself as she was in a semi-conscious state.
Yep.
It just looked really weird.
It looked a bit awkward, and yet, honestly, it's one of my favorite scenes in the film. You know, partially because of that. Like, we've always heard of how strong Leia is in the Force. You know, I mean, at one point in time, when they're discussing Luke and all that kind of stuff, and they're with all seriousness saying, no, there is another.
Yeah,
you know,
there's another one who can do this.
Yeah, there's a hint that Leia is like incredibly powerful with the Force, and this showed that. And it's the first time that I know of that's really been shown. I mean, there was a little bit of mind stuff going on and whatnot, you know, in some of the earlier films, but yeah, this is the first time that I recall seeing just a clearly very, very strong use of the Force. I mean,
yeah, and I do think it was important to see her do that. Okay, so you mentioned the Porg. Let's talk about that scene. You all know the scene I'm talking about. Chewbacca roasting and trying to eat a Porg.
I loved it. I did. I love that scene.
It was awesome.
It really was.
Actually, let's just talk about the humor in this movie. There was a lot of humor in this movie.
There was, and I thought it was handled pretty well.
I did too. A lot of people are complaining about it. They feel like it's too much. And here's my thoughts on it. It was early. The majority of the humor in this movie happened in the first half of it. And I feel like that is incredibly important.
Yeah.
Because I was sitting there in the theater watching it. It's like, no, this is too funny. This is crossing that Seth MacFarlane line that we've been talking about the past 2 months.
They skimmed it close a few times.
And I was like, I'm not okay with this until the movie took the darker turn.
Yeah, although they did sprinkle it in after that, and I think they actually my opinion, but I think they sprinkled it in pretty well. You know,
they did.
It was like, I mean, not overtly funny, although some of them got a laugh from me. Mm-hmm. You know, it was little things that kind of broke up the seriousness just enough to where it was fun, you know, instead of just, you know, tragic, you know.
Yeah.
It was just enough that actually the later ones to me felt very similar to some of the older Star Wars humor, where it was very subtle. Now, some of these weren't subtle. I mean, the Porg hitting the windshield, things like that, not subtle. But
no, not at all.
But it was still funny, and it got a chuckle from me. You know, I mean,
and honestly, I feel like the Porgs were just overused. There were too many of them. You were constantly hearing them. They had to be in every other shot.
See, I thought it was fine. I didn't notice it that much. I noticed, like,
maybe it was just me.
It may have been. I noticed it. I mean, there was that one scene in the ship where there's clearly a bunch of Porgs. And that one I could have done without. Like, I didn't see the need to have, you know, a Porg ship, essentially.
I swear,
I thought... Porg ship. I'm sorry. Oh, no, the Porg is coming.
Oh, you went there.
I did. I'm sorry.
Star Wars Episode 9, Return of the Porg. Oh, gosh, I could see just me doing it.
Cuteness overload, resistance is futile.
I seriously thought at one point that that one Porg was about to get shanked by Luke's lightsaber.
Yes. Yeah, I honestly... I
was kind of hoping for it.
I honestly... I didn't know how to feel about it. Like, because I was too. I was kind of going, no, really?
Press
no.
Press the button.
And then I will admit, I felt like mildly guilty about it. I don't know why. I just did.
I did.
It was Poor Guys or something. I'm just.
So you felt guilty like Chewbacca felt guilty?
A little, yeah.
I suppose that's fair. Love the opening scene with Poe. That comedic little bit.
That was beautiful. And capped off like very seriously, right? They had some really funny bits right there, and then it went like really, really serious.
It did. It did with the bombing of the Dreadnought and all that.
That might be another thing where people are getting a little kind of confused on this film, because I will admit that the pacing of it is very, very strange. It just goes from extreme to extreme all over the place. It's like
does.
really, really funny, really, really serious. And then back, and then action, and then slow. I mean, it's like it's almost not a genre, right? It's like just tons of genres all slammed together.
Yeah, and because there's that as a problem. A lot of people are complaining about the casino planet. I forget the name. And that scene was another one that felt like it was just a little bit drawn out. Incidentally, I do like DJ as a character.
I did.
I thought he was actually pretty cool.
I thought he was very interesting, yeah. And I thought he played him well, though. I thought the actor played him quite well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I loved Rose. I thought she was incredible.
Rose was phenomenal, and arguably one of the better characters in the episode, I think.
Oh yeah, no, she was awesome. Her relationship with Finn as the movie went on, I thought was actually really cool, especially with how much Finn had been crushing on Rey in the last movie.
Yeah, it makes you really kind of wonder what's going on with that. I mean, if anything is going on with that, they can take any direction they want with that as well.
They can. And it was kind of odd because Rey kept asking about Finn.
Right.
Every time she ran into someone, where's Finn?
Yep.
Every time. And so you kind of have to wonder. But then again, it might be because he's the one who saved her from Jakku, essentially. Sure. So that may be more of what's going on there, at least in Rian Johnson's mind.
Right.
But just a lot happened in this movie.
There were things I didn't like. I mean, the casino planet, I liked DJ. Mm-hmm. And I liked some of the sequences there. I thought they were okay.
I don't mind the planet itself or the location.
No,
it's just
I didn't
the
mind
time
that.
Spent there.
It was
unnecessary.
It was too long. I mean, some folks might have enjoyed the chase scene. I didn't like the chase scene. I thought it was too long. It was too drawn out.
It was unnecessary.
It felt too cartoonish. Yeah. It was. It just didn't feel like it needed to be there.
I agree.
Now I will say that the interaction with the kids needed to be there.
Yes,
I think that was important,
and I feel like it will be important in the next movie.
But I think they could have done that without, so much time spent.
Yeah, and I have to agree with that. Incidentally, I love that we got to see Captain Phasma again. I loved her fight with Finn. I thought that was really cool. Finn actually stood his ground really well. Also, that last battle was epic.
On the Salt? The last battle? Oh,
that entire sequence I loved. It was seeing the rebellion at their wits' end. They had no other solution, and
from
Luke
the start,
saved them.
I was going to say, from the start of that sequence to the very end of the film, really, I was pretty happy. I think that whole bit was quite well done. The battle sequence was phenomenal. It was one of the best I've seen. And they didn't have Rey as I mean, yes, she comes in, swoops in with the Millennium Falcon and all that sort of stuff. But
that line in that
was one of the best lines I've ever heard in any Star Wars film. Actually, go ahead.
It's the Millennium Falcon. They've led all of the TIE fighters away. Man, they hate that ship.
Yeah. It was beautiful, but
it was.
But other than Rey doing that, I mean, she wasn't the kind of like I was kind of concerned that she was going to become this like I always get the pronunciation wrong, Deus Ex machina? Is that
Yeah,
close enough? Yeah.
Close enough that I can't tell it's wrong.
Yeah, I mean, that's always my concern with her, because she's consistently growing in the Force. It kind of makes sense
It does.
that she would kind of be that right now, and I loved that she didn't have to be that for this movie.
Yeah, and I have to agree with that. I love what Luke did at the end, and honestly, it threw me off.
Oh yeah, you're not alone.
It's the only because when he walked in and approached Leia, I was sitting there looking at him. Nah, his beard's the wrong color. That's what I noticed. His beard's the wrong color and his hair's too short. He doesn't look regal anymore. Where did the regality go? And
in it, he looked a little more like Luke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we figure out that it was the force projection thing. And I loved the fight between him and Kylo Ren. I thought that was really well done.
That whole sequence of the fight, when they have all these guns and Kylo is freaking out. You know, he's like, all the guns, train all the guns and shoot them. You know, or whatever the line was. He's going, everybody, and they do. You know, I mean, like, just this massive barrage.
Well, he is a supreme leader now.
And I will. That's right. I will admit that for a moment, like I did notice the changes, but I was like, oh, I don't know, force things, or maybe just cut it. I don't know. Yeah. But they have this thing, and I mean, in my head, I'm thinking, there's no way Luke's alive, right?
You know what I thought, right? I was like, oh, he must have dyed his beard to impress his sister.
That's funny. That is.
The thought did go through my mind.
Also fair.
It was the only thing I could figure out. His beard was a different color. I didn't know why.
Why the continuity? Yeah, okay. But for a moment, I thought for sure Luke was going to live somehow. But at the back of my head, I was thinking, what if this is his Ben Kenobi moment? What if this is him giving it up? I mean, giving up his life to the Force. How do you even say that? Being one with the Force, kind of thing. Maybe this was his moment, and he's giving time for them to get away, or something like that. I mean, it's a pretty epic thing. It's not being cut down directly, but I mean, yeah, maybe it's just a sacrifice kind of thing. And when the dust clears and he's just there, stepping forward, I'm just I kind of expected it, but at the same time, I just didn't. I don't know why. Best motion ever by Mark Hamill. It was beautiful.
Yeah, in so many ways, Mark Hamill was just perfect.
Yeah, I mean, my jaw just kind of dropped a little bit during that, though. I'm like, holy biscuit, he is still there,
Oh,
it's like, all right. And then the fight.
Then the actual lightsaber fight. To see Mark Hamill wield a lightsaber again. Wow, was that awesome. Really confusing.
Even though he was faking the whole time.
Oh, yeah.
The drop down, the drop back to avoid the thing,
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh, man.
Yeah, no, that was really cool. A little bit Matrix-y for me, but overall really cool. Except for one thing. It was Anakin's lightsaber.
I missed that.
Yeah, it was the blue Anakin lightsaber.
Wow, I missed that.
That if Kylo Ren had been paying attention, he would have realized that, and it would have been a problem. Because him and Rey had already destroyed Anakin's lightsaber.
Right.
So I'm not sure what the choice was with that. And then we find out that it is the projection. And no, Luke is fine. He's still on his little island. And, he's dead.
That caught me so off guard, yep.
What? Actually, that's probably where the what came from during the credits.
Yeah, no, I was too. As a matter of fact, I didn't say anything. I just sat there staring for a bit.
Yeah.
They show him, and I'm like, oh, that's just awesome. Yeah, that is, yeah. And he even finishes with, I'll see you around, kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's such a good moment.
It is. It really is.
And then he goes to be one with the Force. Like, immediately, or relatively immediately. And I'm assuming strain, projecting over that distance can't be easy, I guess.
Yeah, I don't think that it's the Kylo Ren striking him with the lightsaber that killed him.
No.
That doesn't make any sense to me. I think it probably would have had to have been the strain, or just him saying, nah, I'm done.
Yeah, I mean, it may have been. Yeah, maybe.
I've passed the baton.
I mean, he's not young. He's,
But even so, it still felt really, really strange. And still not sure if I'm okay with that.
He has to come back, right? At least as like a Force ghost kind of thing. I mean, he has to.
Considering how he went, I'm pretty certain he will. It would be kind of silly if he doesn't. Yeah. He is currently contracted to appear in the next movie.
Okay.
We don't know in what capacity, or if Disney's going to fulfill that part, or just say, here's your money, bye. So we're
I
really
think that would be a mistake. Like, I want to see him at least.
Oh, I agree.
You know?
I agree. I would love to see him appear as the Force ghost. And I would really like to hear him say, in some capacity to Rey, that's true from a certain point of view. And then just bust out laughing.
Oh, comedy.
Which
we did
part?
I know.
The Force.
The Force comedy, yeah. Probably the best comedic scene in the film, at least for me.
There were many wonderful comedic scenes.
There were, but that was my favorite by far. The timing was perfect.
Breathe.
If you haven't seen the film, there's a moment where
reach out,
where Luke is teaching Rey how to control
to feel the Force.
How to feel the Force and be able to use it more effectively and be one with it and all that sort. So they're going through the whole breathe and reach out with your feelings. To be fair, he doesn't say that. No,
he says reach out.
Yeah,
and that's it.
Yeah, so he just says reach out. So Rey, eyes shut, does exactly that. And you see this look come across Luke's face just for a moment where he's like, huh?
Actually, what I just did. I didn't even mean to.
Yeah. Just that moment. And he just goes, what does he have? It's like
I think it's some sort of like fern leaf
kind
or
of fern
something.
Leaf or grass or something like that. So her hand's out, eyes closed. And he just starts tickling her hand with it. And she goes, I feel something. I feel something. Yeah, you feel that? Yeah, that's the Force. And then he just...
You must be really strong with it. Whack!
It was just perfect. Absolutely perfect.
I thought it was a great scene.
Yeah. That
it was just great.
That one, I was laughing so hard I couldn't breathe for a moment. So, yeah.
You weren't the only one.
Yeah.
But yes, overall, I think that given a little bit of time, people are going to fall in love with this movie.
I think so.
Once they give it a chance. Oh, one last spoiler that I have to mention. A few weeks ago, we were talking about the Battlefront 2 video game.
Oh, yeah.
And the compass that Luke picked up. It was in the movie. It was there. They didn't do anything with it again, but it was in the movie.
Yep. We're not done.
We're not done?
We're not done. Speaking of spoilers, one that we got wrong we got a lot wrong.
We got a lot wrong. A lot of people got a lot wrong.
Yeah, it's not just us. I mean, the Last Jedi is not, in fact, the Last Jedi. No. Which, again, would be among the spoilers. Rey's parents.
Yeah. That's definitely something we need to talk about. They are legitimately nobody.
Yeah, and I thought it was handled pretty well, honestly, in a weird kind of middle finger to everybody who was like speculating that it was anything else, because like there's that moment where Kylo's talking and he's not really talking to Rey. He's talking to all of us that were making any kind of projections about that at all. And it's blatantly obvious. I mean, it's scripted to all of us.
Yep. How did he
Which
phrase
felt
it?
a little like a slap, and for some reason, I like it when they slap me. So it's.
Oh no!
I know, right?
We're a family-friendly show, Derek.
I'm just getting smacked in the face, man.
Yeah, no, it did. It felt like a smack in the face. But you're right. It was.
Go on.
Well done, Ryan Johnson. Well done.
Yeah, well played, man. Well played.
We deserved that. No, I thought that was actually really good. The way he phrased it was perfect.
It was.
But yeah, overall, yes, this movie had its problems. It was too long.
It was too long.
It was far too long.
It almost felt like it needed to be 2 movies.
It did. It did. And I one thing I didn't mention, I did like Poe's character growth.
Oh, I did too.
Yeah, his character develops very well. But there were other issues with it. People are annoyed by the long, just sort of chase of the starships.
That was a little
running
awkward.
Out of gas. It was.
It was a little awkward.
It really was. I can see how it might be necessary for what happened. I don't really think it was.
Yeah,
they could have handled it differently.
And I will say a lot of that part, like, a lot of the writing in that part just felt forced to me.
It did.
You know, it was like they were writing things in order for it to make sense.
Yeah.
And I never like it when a movie does that. You know, or a story does that even. So, I mean, in that sense, yeah, I'd probably agree with those folks.
Yeah.
I think there had to have been a better way to do that.
Yeah,
that's
I have to agree.
That's it. It was, I mean, it's okay. It's fine.
It worked,
and it was still kind of
paced well enough that it wasn't horrendous. At least not to me. And I know some of you are going to disagree with us on all of this. And that's fine. That's fine. We can talk about it in the comments.
To be fair, I think, and I could be wrong, I'm in the boat where, like, it depends on my moment whether or not I agree with me right now or not.
Oh, yeah. No,
I'm still kind of up in the air. At the end of the day, I think I like the film. I really do. And I think I will,
do.
And I think I will like it more. You know, the more time I have for it to set in, the more times that I probably see it, I'll probably like it more.
Yeah.
Will it be my favorite Star Wars? Yeah, probably not. Will it be on up there in my favorite Star Wars? Maybe.
I mean, it certainly is no Phantom Menace. Phantom Menace was amazing.
I got nothing. Oh, God.
I was waiting for you to punch me. I am, of course, kidding. Kidding.
No, I'm good.
Sarcasm.
I'm okay.
Sarcasm font. Anyways. But that's about all we have time for today. We'd love to hear your thoughts on it. I know you're going to disagree with us on some of this. There are some of you out there that violently hate this movie, and that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you want to give us your thoughts on it, why you feel that way, please do. We'll have a discussion on it. We believe in polite, civilized conversation. We know this is the internet. So, be civil, please.
Do your best. That's all we ask.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
But if you agree with us, tell us why. We'd love to hear that side of it too. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, and if you haven't already done it, hit the subscribe button. We do review videos every so often. We also do just discussion videos. We've been doing review episodes of Seth MacFarlane's series, The Orville, which has now ended. So we've got to find something else to talk about. If you have any suggestions on what you'd like to hear. The season
has ended.
The season has ended. If you have any suggestions on what you'd like to hear us talk about, please leave that in the comments. Also, if you want to follow us on Twitch, where we do play every week, I personally play every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Eastern Times, and I play Tales of Berseria. You can do so at twitch.tv/orcrogues. And Derek?
I play every two day. Oh gosh. Mondays. There we go. I play every Monday at 2:30 Eastern time, and God, I can't talk. 2:30 Eastern time. You know what I mean. I play Hearthstone and currently running through the dungeon runs, which is a new mode if you're not familiar with it, and it is a load of fun. I am currently 3 classes three classes wind. I am 3 classes wind, guys. So I have beat dungeon runs with 3 classes currently, and we're going to see if I can.
To the wind.
It's sparkling water. But anyway, so we're going to see if I can beat all 12 or all nine classes. I've been playing Hearthstone for a while. Join us there. Also, feel free to discuss anything you like with us on Twitch. Anything nerdy, geeky, or just plain fun. Discuss Star Wars. Discuss Orville. Discuss D&D. Discuss the game we're playing. Discuss anything nerdy, geeky, just plain fun.
Anyways, guys, you can also find us online at www.orcrogues.com. And if you'd like to help us with future endeavors, we have a lot of things planned. We're going to be doing a web series, a movie, yes, movie. We're going to be doing a tabletop RPG that we are currently in development on. We're currently also in development on a board game. If you'd like to help us out with any of these things, well, they do cost money, so any help would be appreciated. You can do so at patreon.com/orcrogues, as well as just these regular episodes.
Yep.
These do cost money as well.
They
We
do.
them because we enjoy it. So anyways, guys, that's all we have time for today. Until next time, we are
Orcrogues.